Now, ladies and gentlemen, our next presenter is going to be joining us via Zoom. His name is Dr. Peter Breggin. Who knows the name Dr. Peter Breggin? Okay, now I want everyone to take just a second and go to timetofreeamerica.com if you can, and you're going to click on the World Health Organization button, okay? It's the World Health Organization button. You'll see it right there, boom. And if you click on that, you can see what's called the Pandemic Treaty Draft. It's a pandemic treaty draft. It's a draft document where all of the world's nations are working on a treaty on how they're going to move forward in the event of another outbreak. And if you read that document, you'll probably vomit, because it would be the loss of our Bill of Rights, our U.S. Constitution, and it's right there. Who's seen this document before? And if you haven't, you want to know what's going on. And so Dr. Peter Breggin is a best-selling author who's often cited and quoted by Dr. Peter McCullough, Stu Peters, Steve Bannon. You'll hear these people often cite him. And he joins us today via Zoom, and I believe he's here. So let's pull it up there, and let's see if he's here. Oh, Dr. Peter Breggin. Folks, let's hear it for Dr. Peter Breggin. Okay, now, Dr. Peter Breggin, I am going to disappear from the stage here and let you talk and share it with everybody. But before I leave, can you share with everybody, Dr. Breggin, your website? Because the people here want to go to your website to follow along. What is your website there, Dr. Peter Breggin?
It's Breggin.com, Beggin.com. And if you go on the website, you can see right at the top breaking news, and that will take you to the World Health Organization issues. But the best way to follow us is to sign up for the free Breggin alerts on Breggin.com.
Now, Dr. Peter Breggin, I'm going to disappear. I'm going to disappear, sir, and let you go. So I'm hopping off the stage, and you've got 15 minutes, or actually, you have 20 minutes to let it rip, sir. So one more time, folks, let's hear for Dr. Peter Breggin.
Hello, hello, hello. God, what a wonderful audience you are. Wish I was there. I don't travel, but it's not because of COVID. I stopped traveling. I'm 86. I stopped traveling a year or two before COVID, and it's vastly improved my health. A lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is documented, the background documented in our book, me and my wife, Ginger Breggin, and it's COVID-19 and the Global Predators. We are the prey. COVID-19 and the global predators, we are the prey. And you can get the book on Amazon. You can get it as a book to read, or you can get it as a book to listen to. And you can get it at a discount, the book itself at a discount from us at wearetheprey.com, wearetheprey.com. What Clay is talking about with the World Health Organization is really, really important. The World Health Organization is a part of an agency of the United Nations. And I'm old enough that I can remember the initial discussions about joining the United Nations. I was a young boy. And how some people thought it was a terrible thing that was going to come back and take away our sovereignty. But most people said that was silly and that was nonsense. Well, in fact, the United Nations is in collusion. We do have enemies, folks. The United Nations is in collusion with Xi Jinping and the Chinese communists. It's also in collusion and actually has agreements with Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab is a man who basically organizes huge companies who really want to govern the world. And he's got 100 companies, the big ones, that contribute to him, and their idea is to have a world governance. Well, what they found out during COVID-19 is that the World Health Organization, using the fear of epidemics, pandemics, and other threats, had a lot of power. So I like to think that there were two big, powerful weapons they used against us during COVID-19 that they'll be continuing to use. And one of them was the disease itself, which was created in labs. We've documented this, scientific papers. SARS-CoV-2 was created in labs in both the United States and China, and it was funded by a man some of you are familiar with, Anthony Fauci, who's a big government bureaucrat. And they were working with China, saying China's our friend and helping them build bioweapons, merrily going along, taking innocent viruses and making them very dangerous and damaging. And one either escaped or was let go in China. And that is a weapon, because whether or not the Chinese let it go intentionally, they intentionally spread it. And to do that, they worked with the World Health Organization that Clay Clark brought up, this agency of the UN. And in doing it, they also work with Bill Gates, who is a major contributor to support this UN agency. In fact, when Donald Trump realized that the World Health Organization was covering up for China, covering up for where the virus came from, and he started calling it the Chinese virus and made everybody mad, which it was, the Chinese virus, but American too, we contributed to it. Then they started to just pump up the power. And finally, our president said, I'm not going to fund you anymore. So immediately, and of course that was reversed by Biden, and immediately Bill Gates started funding more money into the World Health Organization than the US government had been doing. So you see this bizarre combination of people who are trying to get a world governance. And the combination includes what I call the Eastern Empire, which are the Chinese, who have a long history of empires. And you know, communism is about building a world empire. Some of you may have heard from the Communist Manifesto, workers of the world unite. That's a call to a dictatorship, an empire of the world. And then on the other hand, we have the Western Empire, where we have many corporations, many government agencies, like our CDC and our FDA, and who want to have a world governance. That's where the power and the money is. And most of our folks who are in the technology field and so on, they are all making their money from China. So they want a world governance. So as a part of this, and this is where you were hearing about the treaties from Clay, as a part of this, they have tried and are trying to give governance over healthcare in all the nations of the world, to give it to a dictatorship of the World Health Organization. The Biden government, we beat this back, but they're going to come back in a year. The Biden government put in amendments to the World Health Organization regulations, unleashing the World Health Organization under a man named Tedros, who's an outright communist thug, empowering them to go into any country where they thought there was even a hint of a global level problem starting. It could be anything, a pandemic. It could be under their rules, my God, it could be hunger. Under their rules, it could be a war even, because they've got these big ideas about what world health is about. But mostly they talk about the pandemics. So they want a dictatorship that if any country has a problem that they think is going to affect other countries, and that's pretty common, they can step in and bring the power of the United Nations, another group that is affiliated with them, the World Bank. They've got all kinds of powers they can bring to bear. But in our country, Biden himself will bring them to bear. And Biden is really running right now a third world approach to govern our country. And then while we stopped that vote, a lot of us worked together, and some of the African nations worked together, and we stopped the World Health Organization from voting to give unrestricted powers to itself. But now, just as Clay Clark said, they are trying to make individual treaties with countries to give over control over from our country anything that looks like it has global implications in the giant field of health. This should be talked about. Talk to your neighbors about this. Tell your friends Biden administration is desperately trying to give up control over a good chunk of our health care to the world dictatorship. This is an example that's terrifying, that's real, and that people must understand. Biden is a very corrupt person. He and his family members, including his son Hunter, made millions, tens of millions of dollars working with the Chinese. They're deep in with the Chinese. They're all working through the World Health Organization to give it a global power. So this is real. There's nothing conspiratorial about this. It's completely documented. If you go to my website, our website, Breggin.com, you'll see it right at the top. Emergency information, the breaking news, and all the documentation you could possibly want. The elections are coming up. We're in a life and death struggle. In many ways, it's God against the devil. It's a tremendous good and evil struggle. It's a struggle for our souls. The UN, the World Health Organization, the communist Bill Gates, all these people hate our democracy. They hate our patriotism because it stands in the way of their control. So think of the global control they want, and you'll immediately see that standing up like a Mount Everest, our nation, if it's patriotic, if it's America first, still has the power to stop them. And that's the big hope. That's what we have to do. Get people out to vote. Let people know that we're in a terribly dangerous situation, but a potentially glorious one, because groups like this and people like Clay Clark and the rest of us, we are really in the mode to stand up for America, essentially against the world predators. In the book, again, COVID-19 and the world and the global predators. Thank you. Thank you, Clay, for this amazing opportunity to talk on video. I hope it's come across. God bless all of you.
One more time, folks, let's hear for Dr. Peter Breggin. Thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate you joining us. And now I'm going to take the quality of the show down to the bottom by taking over the mic. But thank you, Peter Breggin, for joining us. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that's Dr. Peter Breggin. How many of you have seen the news coverage about this event? You know, and it would if you've read the news, what would you assume this event was? Probably all that, right? So what we need signatures of people that feel like, you know, you would like to side with and support this. And so, Devin, you built that link real quick. Let's pull up the link for a second here. And we pull up the link. If everybody could just take a second, put your name, your phone number, and your email in there, then what we're going to do is we'll reach out to you to get your signature, like an e-signature, like you're signing to rent a car or signing to get a mortgage. And we'll need to get signatures. And she's going to basically draft a letter to New York's Attorney General letting her know that you can't pressure people like us to not get together because of allegations related to racism, which doesn't exist, okay? So that's what we're going to do. I need everyone just to take just a brief second. Again, it's time2freeamerica.com/new-york-attorney-general. And don't make it awkward, but I'm going to just give you a moment or two or an hour. And then when you get it done, just kind of wave your phone at me. That way I know you did it. So again, it's time2freeamerica.com/new-york/attorney/general. If you can just take a second. And once you do that, if you can wave your phone at me, and we're just looking for signatures. No internet here? Well. You know, that actually happened with the live stream today, too. Oddly enough, the live stream, the internet was cut in this geographical area. This is does anybody else have a hard time getting on the internet? Who is on the internet? Just give us your Wi-Fi. We'll just hop on your hotspot real quick. Just like 1,000 of us. No big deal. Okay, but let's go ahead and take a second if we can all go ahead and join on. And are we good here? Okay.